Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Cigar Advisor Cigar Review Panel Cigar Review. I'm Gary Korb, and today we are going to be evaluating the Midnight Oil 867, the 54 from Asylum Cigars. I'll have more details for you shortly, but first let's meet the panel. He's so into rocket science, he really does have one in his pocket. It's Cigar Advisor Features Editor Jared Goulet.
Take note, ladies.
The secret to his haircut is known only to his barber at PetSmart. Cigar Advisor features writer Paul Luke.
I hope he's not watching.
Okay, now he's always been very helpful to other people, but then so has Dukalax. It's Cigar Advisor Managing Editor John Pulo. Anyhow, all right, so the details for the Midnight Oil 867.
Pale in comparison to the description of the rest.
These are made at El Aladino factory in Donley, Honduras. And it's a 6x54 Toro, hence the name, the 54. I think we can agree the strength is mellow.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
The wrapper, filler, binder, they're all Honduran. Okay, so it's a puro in that sense. They're presented in boxes of 20 cigars and 5 packs, which you'll find at famous-smoke.com online. Okay, let's get to the backstory. And Jared has it, so let's go with him right now.
Thanks, Gary. Now, a pillar of South Dakota's cigar scene, Wild Bill Rechtenwald of Deadwood has helped reshape the cigar industry, specifically when it comes to infused cigars. That's why Deadwood's latest collaboration on Asylum 867 is a perfect match. Asylum's Tom Lazuka has had his fair share of trendsetting, helping catapult large format cigars from novelty to norm. Together, the two companies are combining what they do best to break new ground. That sounds all fine and dandy on paper, but we're here for the brass tacks. Let's see how it takes to a flame.
All right, thanks a lot, Jared. Now, let's see what we thought of the Asylum Midnight Oil 867 Toro
5309.
Okay, so let's start with you, John, the construction and draw.
So slightly oil, a little bit of a mottled brown wrapper, firm, smooth, seamless, all the good attributes. 6x54, though, is a good size.
I like that. That's my favorite Toro
look,
dimensions.
I mean, it's not so big ring that it's big ring, but it's not, this is a standard 90 minutes. I mean, you could burn this for the better part of 90 minutes.
Let me move to Paul here. What about the flavors? Was there any particular flavor that stood out?
There's a lot of steeped flavor, I guess.
Okay.
If I were to have a fruity sundae before I enjoyed this, you could say I'd be chasing the dragon with a cigar.
Okay, I see.
It's like, some tea notes. I got some like sweet tea, like
I
some
got that too. Yeah.
seriously, the floral. It's like very floral cigar. It's like a little bit of like apricot sweetness, maybe. It's definitely sweet.
Yeah.
Good, but I
I
think
think
the taste of
caramel and like vanilla and buttercream. I mean, my sample was actually really
Well, the power of suggestion is now compelling. To me. So I'm sensing that. But actually, when I had first smoked it, it was kind of like a peachy. So
Okay, yeah.
so kind of think like peach
It was
tea.
fruity and
Like a flavored tea was kind of that first.
okay.
I guess it makes sense since
Power
it's steeped in, right?
Seriously, but
Jared, what about you? Any particular flavor stand out? I mean, we're so early in these, but
So-
sample.
I'm gonna admit I'm struggling a little bit with this cigar
Okay.
to really identify flavors here. And I was talking off cam with Pulo, and I think he really nailed what this is. To me, it's kind of got this identity crisis, and that sounds like a bad thing, but it actually might be a good thing, especially for people who haven't had infused cigars, because I don't really think it's very much like an infused cigar, and I really don't think it's very much like a traditional cigar. It's somewhere in between that, which makes it, to your point, a fantastic bridge cigar for someone who's just trying to like ease into that. They don't want to, go jumping into the deep end. They want to dip their toes in a little bit, just feel how cold the water is first.
well, like many flavored cigars, this has a sweetened tip.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, it's not overly sweet. Like there are some acids that have a really sweet tip. Baccarat has a really
Yeah.
sweet tip.
Yeah.
And
It never
and-
goes away.
It's not super sweet.
well, but the difference with this one is this really finds a way to linger. And I had the same issue with that you did was that it's definitely hard to get a read on what the tobacco flavors are because
Yeah.
that sweet tip really lingers into the finish.
Yeah.
So, it's almost kind of like that peachy kind of sensation that I was talking about before,
Mhm.
but it's when you take it all together, that's what it is. So the
Well-
tobacco flavors really don't make themselves apparent, in my opinion, until about the second half.
Yeah.
Really, because I was thinking the same thing in this sense.
Yeah.
That, when you infuse a cigar, whatever you flavor it, you do lose whatever, if it's a quality tobacco, you're not going to get that. But I don't think that's the idea. I think the idea is more of the flavor delivery system than,
You know what it
I mean, it might be a waste of good tobacco to some, but
You know what it reminded me of? Freaking pipe tobacco.
okay.
It reminded me of smoking like an aromatic fruit
Mhm.
Yeah.
forward
Okay.
blend.
Okay.
So, like as I'm smoking this again and sitting here and getting the aroma off of you guys' cigars, it reminds me of a very like an experience with smoking an aromatic. I don't know if that was the intent,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I'm getting.
I can see where you're coming from that, but and to your point, and to just use it as a jump spring, if I can, what this lacks in, it's not lacking flavor, it's lacking an identity of flavor, of being able to really put your finger on it. Well, it more than makes up for that in aroma. It definitely has a lot of aroma. I'm getting a lot of like roasted coffee aroma,
Mhm.
getting some sweetness as well, like just like an overall sweet aroma, maybe almost like a cookie like.
It's very
Not like a
pleasant.
vanilla.
Yeah, it's a
aroma
very,
for the most
very
part.
Yeah.
like you're not gonna get your better half angry with you from smoking this if she doesn't
Oh, for
like
sure.
being around it,
Yeah. That's true. Well, Jared already kind of, kind of brought it up, but I was going to ask, who is this cigar for? And you said it's sort of an in between bridge cigar.
Yeah, I think for anyone who's looking to just kind of feel it out with
Right,
an
right.
infused or flavored blend, because if you go with something like a Tabacco Special or an Acid or Tatiana, you're going to go full-fledged into flavor,
That's true.
and you're not going to have nearly as much of that tobacco influence, to your point earlier.
Right.
So this kind of like gives you an idea of what both are like without throwing you off either edge.
Yeah, and that's almost what I said.
Yeah.
Like besides those, if you already love infused cigars, you're gonna really like the cigar. But I have to go with this beginners, like as Jared kind of intimated. In other words, this is like a cigar with training wheels.
Yeah.
Well, if you
Training wheels is great.
if you're a cigar smoker and you're, use a Southern expression, if you're like deep in the cups, you don't want to pull out a real, like, you don't want to pull out a Cohiba. This is a good
Right.
cigar that you could smoke. You're a little too inebriated to, enjoy the nuances of
Cohiba.
Not necessarily in the cup. Yeah.
You mean Thursday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
If you find Cuba Cuba
Mhm.
to be too much
Mhm.
of a cigar,
Okay.
too much flavor, then I think something like this is more for you. If you find other flavored cigars too fake tasting, like too saccharine, too whatever, then I think this is definitely for you because the sweet tip is not as saccharine as maybe
No.
a Baccarat is, or
This is a
something like
much
that.
better
This is a
sweetener, whatever
much
they're
better
using.
sweetener, and what you really get into in the second half, I think maybe as your palate gets used to the flavoring, it does dry up a little bit,
Mhm.
dry your tongue up a little bit. But some of the all natural Honduran spice starts to pop through, and it kind of
Yeah, a little
keeps
bit.
it a little bit interesting towards the end. But that's really, a flavored cigar is less about the minutia, like the complexities.
Yeah.
You're not really talking about complexities. It's this is more about locking into the sweet spot of what they're going for with the flavor.
And-
And if it happens to bring one or two more things to the pro column, then great. And even better.
Here's what as you were speaking, I apologize for being rude and interrupting,
No,
but
it's fine.
what I was thinking, as you were speaking, I was thinking is, how do we evaluate this? I guess we're all kind of struggling with it, but I think with a cigar like this, with an infused blend, with a flavored blend, it's the consistency of that flavor throughout. Does it keep it throughout?
I would
Does
say
it,
yes. Yeah.
does it lose it?
Mhm.
Are the flavors like too cloying? And so with this, I would say no. So it's definitely like a higher premium of blend You know, it's not like Cuban honey, for example,
Right.
or
Yeah.
dime store flavored.
It's a bridge cigar
Yeah,
in a lot of
What
ways.
Jared said. Yeah.
What was that in like the early 90s, late 80s, that sugar-free gum? It was like the craze. Everybody,
Oh, yeah.
what was that sugar?
Late 80s.
Dentine.
Carefree or something was it Carefree? No.
Remember certs?
Yeah. Rolaids.
Sugar-free gum.
Yeah. Something, it was something
Related.
free. I think it was called something free.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was Carefree. but that's
Carefree.
something
It
else.
was carefree.
Carefree?
Carefree. So there's like a little bubble gum kind of quality to it.
It's that, not the flavor of the gum, but that kind of sweetness.
The sweetness that went with the flavor
Yeah.
of the gum.
Do you remember when artificial sweeteners weren't terrible? Like
Yeah.
back then? Like that's, yeah.
So,
Never liked them.
so my go-to back in the day was bubble yum.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Remember, it was kind
Yeah.
of like a cube, and and there was like 5 of them in it. So yeah, I mean, it kind of has.
chew, man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of got to step up to like an actual full piece of bubble gum. For sure.
That was pre-tobacco days when I was too young. So I had a flavor of chewing those candy cigarettes.
We want to sum it up or we just want to.
I would say, best way I can sum this up for you. It's not strong, but it's got some body.
Yeah.
It's got flavor and aroma, but it's not obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a sweet tip, but it's not overly done. And actually, they found a way to make it last throughout pretty much the whole cigar,
Yeah. Well,
which I really think is
Last
one
one
of the
I had-
highlights of this.
my sample was a little sweeter, but yeah, it lasted
Yeah.
the whole time where some of them actually fade, right?
Right. Yeah, but by halfway,
Excuse
but this actually lasts through pretty much the whole thing.
Mhm.
I think it got an interesting profile that I think even you guys who are non-infused cigar smokers, if you wanted to cross over. So if you've ever found yourself saying, geez, I'd like to try an infused cigar, but I really don't know if I can go all in. I think this is be a great crossover stop. So
Yeah.
again, getting back to the whole bridge concept we talked about earlier. Or if you're going the other direction and you're kind of stepping down from the infused side and looking for more natural tobacco, straightforward cigar flavors, this is going to help get you.
Yeah, and I think to Paul's point, I think that these remind me of these cigars that Steve Saka did, that Dunbarton
Oh,
did.
the Stillwell.
Stillwell,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of a nice angle on there. I do like flavored cigars on occasion, mostly the coffee stuff. I mean, I like Java,
Oh yeah.
tobacco.
I'm with you
stuff.
on that.
So I'm kind of used to the sweet tip and the whole thing. So and I thought that it was mostly a vanilla caramel kind of experience in terms of the flavor, but overall it really performed well. Like my sample in this one burning perfectly
Oh, the
and it's
construction
really
is
well
great,
made.
yeah.
I mean that's one good thing about it.
No issues there. Oh.
And I think this is like you could take it on the golf course, with other outdoor activities, but I think it's aimed mostly at people who like we spoke about before, Cuba Cuba,
Yep.
Tatiana, CAO flavors, Drew Estate and the Drew Estate Deadwood stuff. That is it for our review of the Asylum Midnight Oil 867, the 54. I'd like to know how they got the name is Midnight Oil, like the band.
Maybe the beds were burning
Maybe.
I would have thought like a Tommy Two-Tone.
Oh,
with the
okay.
53096.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that is our review for the Asylum Midnight Oil 86754. Thanks to John, Paul, Jared, and you for watching. And remember, you'll find the Asylum Midnight Oil 867 cigars and the many other fine cigars from Asylum at famous-smoke.com. That's Famous Smoke Shop online. Please follow us at cigaradvisor.com and on all of our popular social media channels like Instagram, Rumble, X, Facebook, and more. If you like this video, please click like and share it with your cigar smoking compadres. For Cigar Advisor, I'm Gary Korb. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at our next cigar review panel cigar review.